The moment their sensors detected the strange vessel, the collective ship buzzed with activity. Commander Tahoe stood tall on the bridge, his 4 eyes narrowed at the display screen. The unknown ship drifted in space, its design unlike anything they had seen before. Senior Observer Wujin analyzed this craft, ordered Tahoe, his voice echoing through the ship's communication system. Wujin moved quickly to his station. The collective had met many species in their long history. 17 different alien races now lived as part of their great union. This would soon be the 18th, Wujin thought. The vessel appears primitive, Wujin reported. Unusual shape, inefficient design. Energy output suggests limited technology. Commander Tahoe nodded. Open communication channels. The main screen flickered. A creature appeared, sitting in what seemed to be a control chair. It had 2 eyes, soft-looking skin, and wore colored fabric over most of its body. "Greetings. I am Captain Minho of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon," the alien said. "We represent humanity and seek peaceful contact." Wujin studied the being with fascination. Its outer covering seemed so fragile. No natural armor, no protective scales. How had such vulnerable creatures survived long enough to reach space? "I am Supreme Commander Tahoe of the Collective Union Ship Harmony," Tahoe replied. "We welcome this meeting." The alien's face changed. Its mouth pulled back to reveal small white bones. Wujin quickly consulted the ship's database. "This facial movement is called a smile in many bipedal species," the computer reported. "Often indicates submission or fear." Tahoe saw this as a good sign. "We invite you aboard our vessel for proper discussions," he said. When the humans arrived through the docking tube, Wujin was surprised by their small size. Captain Minho stood only as tall as Wujin's chest. The human group wore different colored fabrics instead of proper space protection. They seemed completely unconcerned about their vulnerability. "Thank you for your welcome," Captain Minho said, making that strange mouth gesture again. "We're honored to be your guests." Wujin watched as the human captain looked around the docking bay. The creature seemed impressed by the collective's technology, as it should be. The collective had spent thousands of years perfecting their ships and systems. "Please follow me to our meeting chamber," Tahoe said. "We have much to discuss about your future with the collective." As they walked, Wujin noticed the humans studying everything. Their eyes moved quickly, taking in details of the ship's design. One human was touching the wall material. Another was looking up at the ceiling systems. They seemed very curious. In the meeting room, Captain Minho sat across from Commander Tahoe. The other humans stood behind their leader. "We come in peace and friendship," said Captain Minho, his mouth stretching to show teeth again. "We hope this marks the beginning of beneficial relations between our peoples." Tahoe's upper body swayed in the formal gesture of collective authority. "The collective welcomes potential new additions to our unified existence." The human's face did that strange movement again. Wujin made notes in his datapad. This smiling happened frequently. Perhaps it was an involuntary response, a sign of nervous system inferiority. "Tell us about Earth," Tahoe said. "We wish to know about your resources, population centers, and defense systems." Captain Minho's smile changed slightly. "We're happy to share cultural information first. Perhaps we could exchange knowledge about our histories and societies before discussing more sensitive matters." Wujin noticed how smoothly the human deflected the question. Interesting. Perhaps they weren't as simple as they appeared. Of course, Tahoe agreed, though Wujin could tell his commander was annoyed. "The collective began 10,000 years ago, when our species united all life on our homeworld." As Tahoe spoke of the collective's glorious history of absorbing other species into their perfect union, Wujin watched the humans carefully. Their faces remained pleasant, still making those smiling expressions, but their eyes seemed alert in a way that made Wujin uneasy. When Captain Minho smiled after hearing how the 17th species had joined the collective last cycle, something about that smile felt different. It didn't match the computer's description of submission or fear. Wujin made another note. Human facial expressions may have multiple meanings. Further study required. 3 days passed since the first meeting between the collective and humans. Woojin sat in the observation chamber with Science Director Juwu, watching recordings of all interactions with the Earth representatives. "Play the fourth meeting again," Juwu said, her thin fingers tapping on the control panel. The screen showed Commander Taiho and Captain Minho sitting across from each other in the main conference room. "As I explained yesterday," Taiho was saying, "all species find happiness within our collective structure. Your people will benefit from our guidance and protection." Captain Minho's face formed that now familiar expression, showing his small white teeth. "I appreciate your perspective," he said, his mouth stretching even wider than before. "But humans prefer cooperative partnerships rather than hierarchical integration." Juwu paused the recording. "Do you see? The human rejects clear logic with this facial contortion. Every time we explain the benefits of joining the collective, they respond with this, smiling." Woojin nodded slowly. "Perhaps they cannot understand complex concepts. Their brains may be too simple to grasp the benefits we offer." "That was my conclusion as well," Juwu agreed. "Commander Tahoe has requested deeper scans of their vessel. We need to assess their true technological level." Later that day, Woojin stood beside Commander Tahoe as they prepared to request access to human information systems. Captain Minho and 2 other humans sat across the table. "To move forward with our friendship," Tahoe began, "we require access to your ship's database. This will help us understand how best to integrate human culture into the collective." Captain Minho made the teeth-showing expression again. His eyes crinkled at the corners. "I'll need to consult with my government before granting that level of access," he said. "This is a simple request," Tahoe insisted. "Your reluctance suggests you may be hiding information." "Not at all," Minho replied, still smiling. "But protocol requires approval for data sharing of this magnitude. I'm sure you understand the importance of following proper procedures." After the humans left, Tahoe turned to Woojin. "They delay intentionally. We will proceed with remote scanning of their vessel tonight." "Is that wise?" Woojin asked. "If they detect our intrusion—" "Their technology is primitive," Tahoe interrupted. "They will detect nothing." That night, 3 collective scout ships approached the human vessel, using stealth field generators to hide their movement. Woojin monitored their progress from the command center. "Beginning scan sequence," reported the lead scout. "Targeting their central computer systems first." For 2 minutes, everything proceeded as planned. Then suddenly, all 3 scout ships lost power. "What's happening?" Tahoe demanded. "Unknown energy field detected," came the response. "Our systems are shutting down. We can't." The transmission cut off. 6 hours later, Captain Minho requested an emergency meeting. When he entered the collective ship, his face showed the familiar smile, but something about it seemed different. "We detected unauthorized scans of our vessel last night," he said calmly. "Your ships nearly triggered our defensive systems. 3 of your crew are currently on our ship, receiving medical attention after their systems failed." Tahoe's upper spines bristled in surprise. "How did you?" "Those scans could have damaged sensitive equipment," Minho continued, still displaying teeth though his voice had a sharper edge. "Please respect our boundaries." Woojin noticed something alarming. The human smile didn't match his words or tone. The mouth formed the same shape, but the eyes remained cold and alert. Not submission, not fear, something else entirely. After the meeting, Commander Tahoe pulled Woojin aside. "This smiling is a deception. Prepare contingency measures." "What kind of measures?" Woojin asked. "The only kind that matter when dealing with potential threats," Tahoe replied. "This species refuses our generous offer. They hide their true capabilities. They smile while rejecting our authority." As Captain Minho prepared to return to his ship, Woojin observed him from a distance. The human captain turned briefly, making eye contact with Woojin across the docking bay. His face formed one last smile before departing. This smile was different. tighter, controlled. The eyes didn't crinkle at all. Instead, they seemed to see through Wujin, cold and calculating. Something deep in Wujin's brain, some ancient part that existed before the collective, before civilization, sent a warning signal. Predator, it said. This is not the smile of prey. This is the look of a hunter. For the first time in his career, Wujin felt afraid of a species the collective had encountered. The collective council gathered in the great chamber. All 12 leaders sat in a circle, their bodies glowing with the blue light that showed they were linked in mind. Wujin stood at the edge of the room, recording the historic meeting. The evidence is clear, Commander Tahoe said. These humans refuse our generous offer to join the collective. They hide information and resist proper scanning. The council leader Doyun nodded slowly. What do you recommend? We must bring them into the collective by force, Tahoe replied. Their ships are small. Their weapons appear basic. We can easily overcome them. One by one, each council member voted. The decision was unanimous. The humans would be subjugated. Wujin watched as Tahoe prepared the attack plan. 5 collective warships would surround the 3 human vessels. The first strike would disable their engines. The second would break their communication systems. The third would force them to surrender. Victory is mathematically certain, said Tactical Officer Hyunwoo, studying the battle simulations. Our ships outnumber and outgun them. We will succeed. Before the attack, Commander Tahoe sent one final message to the humans. Wujin stood behind him as the communication screen activated. Captain Minho, Tahoe said, the collective has decided. Your species will benefit from collective guidance. Resistance is unnecessary and inefficient. On the screen, Captain Minho's face appeared. He looked directly at them and slowly formed that unsettling smile. I understand completely, he said. We'll await your approach. Something in his tone made Wujin uncomfortable. The human seemed too calm, too accepting. But Commander Tahoe was pleased. They recognized their situation, Tahoe said as the communication ended. Perhaps they are not as foolish as we thought. The collective fleet moved into position. From the command deck of Tahoe's flagship, Wujin watched the formation take shape. 5 massive collective warships surrounded the 3 small human vessels, which remained motionless. Begin the attack sequence, Tahoe ordered. Weapon systems powered up across all 5 ships. Target locks fixed on the human vessels. Victory was moments away. Then the humans did something unexpected. Their ships suddenly released thousands of small objects. They sprayed out in all directions like tiny stars. Scanning objects, reported a sensor operator. They appear to be debris, perhaps jettisoned cargo. Commander Tahoe leaned forward. Why would they? Before he could finish, the small objects suddenly activated. They began emitting strange energy patterns that interfered with the collective ship systems. Targeting systems failing, reported Hyunwoo, his hands moving frantically across the control panel. We can't lock weapons. Tahoe's face showed confusion for the first time. How is this possible? Their technology shouldn't be capable of. Suddenly, the human ships moved. They didn't drift slowly as before. They shot forward with incredible speed, executing turns and maneuvers that should have been impossible for vessels of their size. Tactical error. Hyunwoo shouted, his voice rising in alarm. The humans knew we were. His words cut off as a brilliant flash of light filled the command deck. One of the collective warships had been hit. Its main power core was failing. Impossible. Tahoe roared. How did they hide such weapons? Wujin realized the truth. They showed us what they wanted us to see. All our scans. They were manipulated. Another collective ship reported critical damage. Then another. The humans moved between the collective vessels with perfect precision, as if they had studied their design for years. Wujin's communication panel activated. Captain Minho's face appeared, wearing that same smile that now seemed so different. Not submission, not weakness. Something much more dangerous. We've been expecting this, Captain Minho said calmly. "Now it's our turn." The transmission ended as the flagship shuddered from a direct hit. Emergency alarms blared throughout the ship. The perfect formation of the collective fleet had broken apart. 2 ships were already disabled, drifting helplessly in space. How did they know? Tahoe demanded, his voice shaking. How did they anticipate our exact attack plan? Woojin watched the human ships execute another perfect maneuver. They were never afraid, he realized. They were studying us, learning our patterns, feeding us what we expected to see. On the main display, one of the human ships turned directly toward them. It was smaller than the flagship, but now it seemed menacing rather than vulnerable. "All those smiles," Woojin said quietly. They weren't showing submission. They were hiding their true intentions. As the ship approached, Woojin finally understood the truth. The humans hadn't been afraid of the collective. They had been preparing for this moment all along. The flagship shuddered again as another hit landed. The lights flickered and died, leaving only the red emergency glow. In the darkness, Woojin remembered Captain Minho's final smile. It hadn't been a sign of weakness at all. It had been a warning. The flagship of the collective fleet trembled as another explosion hit its side. Woojin grabbed a support beam to keep from falling. Around him, other crew members rushed to emergency stations. Commander Tahoe's voice came through the ship's communication system, crackling with static. "All crew to defensive positions. How did they anticipate our—" The message cut off suddenly. The main lights failed, leaving only the dim red emergency lighting. "Commander Tahoe." Woojin called into his communication device. No response came. Through the large viewport in the observation deck, Woojin could see the battle unfolding. It wasn't going well for the collective. 3 of their mighty warships drifted without power, their lights dark. The human vessels moved with incredible speed, attacking and retreating in patterns that seemed perfectly designed to counter collective tactics. They knew, Woojin whispered to himself. They knew exactly how we would attack. A nearby officer rushed to Woojin's side. "Senior observer, we must get to the escape pods. The humans have disabled our main engines and weapons systems." Before Woojin could respond, their ship took another hit. This one was stronger than before. The floor beneath them shook violently, and several control panels exploded in showers of sparks. Woojin staggered to the viewport again. What he saw made his 4 eyes widen in shock. Dozens of small craft were emerging from what the collective had thought were simple cargo containers attached to the human ships. These small vessels swarmed toward the collective flagship like tiny predators attacking a much larger animal. The ship's computer announced in its calm voice, "Life support systems failing. Backup power at 20%. Estimated time to complete failure, 15 minutes. As alarms blared around him, Woojin's mind began the automatic archiving process that all collective members experienced in moments of extreme danger. His consciousness reviewed key memories, preserving them in case of death. He remembered the first meeting with Captain Minho, how the human smile had seemed like a sign of weakness or submission. He recalled how easily the humans had shared unimportant information, while cleverly avoiding questions about their defenses and technology. He saw again how they had presented their ships as technologically inferior, drawing the collective into a false sense of security. They planned this from the beginning, Woojin realized. Every smile, every seeming mistake, it was all part of their strategy. A new alarm sounded, different from the others. Woojin recognized it immediately. The boarding alert. Enemies were entering the ship. "All personnel, intruder alert," announced the computer. "Unknown entities have breached docking bay 3. Emergency bulkheads began closing throughout the ship, a last defense against invaders. Woojin watched through internal monitoring systems as humans in armored suits moved through the corridors of the ship. They moved with purpose, as if they knew exactly where they were going. Woojin sealed the door to his observation post and prepared himself for the end. The collective had faced defeat only once in its long history. He never thought he would witness its second. Outside his door, he heard strange sounds, cutting tools working through the metal of the sealed bulkhead. They were coming for him specifically. The door opened with a hiss of escaping air. 5 humans in combat suits entered, weapons ready. Behind them came a figure Woojin recognized immediately, Captain Minho. The human captain wasn't wearing a protective suit like the others. He walked in calmly, as if visiting a friend's home. His face showed that same expression, that smile, but now Woojin understood its true meaning. Senior Observer Woojin, Captain Minho said, checking a small device in his hand. I've been looking forward to meeting you properly. Woojin stood as tall as his injured body would allow. How did you know our attack plan? How did you prepare so perfectly? Minho's smile widened slightly. You've been broadcasting your intentions from the moment we met. Your species believes itself so superior that you never considered we might be studying you while you studied us. The collective has absorbed 17 species, Woojin said. None have ever resisted successfully. Yes, we know, Minho replied. We've met some of the survivors. This revelation hit Woojin like a physical blow. Survivors? Impossible. All members join the collective completely. That's what you believe, Minho said. But some always escape, and they warned us about you long before you found us. Captain Minho stepped closer, his smile now clearly visible in the dim red light. Woojin finally understood what that expression truly meant. It wasn't submission. It wasn't fear. It was the look of a predator who had successfully trapped its prey. Now, Minho said, we have much to discuss about the future of the collective. Woojin sat in his new quarters aboard the human ship Horizon. The room was smaller than his chambers on the collective vessel, but surprisingly comfortable. They had adjusted the atmosphere and gravity to match his biological needs. This consideration confused him. A human female entered without ceremony. I am Lieutenant Suman, she said. I'll be your guide while you're with us. Am I a prisoner? Woojin asked. Suman's mouth formed a small smile. We prefer diplomatic guest. Captain Minho believes you can help both our species understand each other better. Over the next few days, Suman spent many hours with Woojin. She explained things that shocked him deeply. The collective's pattern of absorbing other species has been documented for centuries, she told him. Some individuals always escape assimilation. They found refuge on remote worlds. Eventually, they found us. Impossible, Woojin said. The collective assimilation is perfect. Nothing is perfect, Suman replied. We've been preparing for this encounter for decades. Your collective is predictable. You always underestimate species that display emotions. Woojin struggled to accept this. You deceived us deliberately. We showed you what you expected to see, she said. You believed we were primitive because we express emotions. You thought our smiles meant weakness. As days passed, Woojin watched the humans carefully. He began to understand their facial expressions carried complex meanings. A smile could mean happiness, aggression, nervousness, or deception. Their faces changed constantly, reflecting inner thoughts that members of the collective would never reveal. Captain Minho visited occasionally. Woojin now saw his famous smile differently. It had been a strategic mask, concealing the careful preparation for the collective's inevitable betrayal. Why didn't you simply destroy our ships? Woojin asked during one visit. Because we're not like you, Minho answered. We don't believe stronger species should eliminate or absorb weaker ones. We think diversity makes the galaxy stronger. This concept was difficult for Woojin to grasp. The collective taught that unity was strength. Difference was inefficiency. One morning, Suman arrived with exciting news. Representatives from Earth have arrived to discuss peace terms with your leaders. Captain Minho requests your presence. Woojin was brought to a large meeting room. Commander Tahoe and 2 other collective leaders sat on one side of a table, looking diminished without their usual grand surroundings. On the other side sat several humans in formal clothing. Captain Minho greeted Wujin warmly. "Senior Observer, I'd like you to meet Admiral Chunho from Earth Central Command." Admiral Chunho was older than Minho, with gray hair and lines on his face. He extended a hand toward Wujin, a human greeting gesture that Wujin had learned to accept. The collective must understand that humanity seeks allies, not subjects. Admiral Chunho stated after introductions were complete. "We prefer diversity to assimilation. It makes us collectively stronger while remaining individually distinct." Commander Tejo looked confused. "You defeated our ships. By collective law, you should either destroy us or absorb us." Admiral Chunho shook his head. "That's not our way. We propose a treaty. Your current territory remains yours. We establish clear borders. We begin cultural exchange programs to learn from each other." Wujin watched his leaders struggle with this concept. In all its history, the collective had never encountered a species that didn't follow the simple rule: conquer or be conquered. "What guarantee do we have that you won't attack when we are vulnerable?" Commander Tejo asked. "The same guarantee you give us," replied Admiral Chunho. "Trust, built over time. It's how alliances work." The discussions continued for hours. Wujin observed how the humans negotiated, firm on important points, flexible on minor ones. They smiled often, but now Wujin understood these expressions better. He could see genuine hope for peace in their faces. When the meeting ended, both sides agreed to continue talks. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Captain Minho approached Wujin. "What do you think?" Minho asked. "Your proposal is unusual," Wujin admitted. "The collective has never considered such an arrangement." "That's why we want you to help us," Minho said. "You're the first of your kind to truly see us." "That's a start." Minho's face formed that now familiar expression. His lips pulled back, showing teeth. But this time, Wujin recognized the smile as neither weakness nor threat, but invitation, the beginning of understanding between two very different peoples. As Wujin watched the humans leave, he felt something new stirring within him. For the first time in his life, he questioned whether the collective's way was truly perfect. Perhaps there was something to learn from these emotional, unpredictable beings after all. For the first time, Wujin found himself wanting to smile back. The end.